All right. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. My name is Madeline and I work at Startup Grind as our chapter lead, where I oversee our entire chapter director community. I'll also be your host for today's Pitch.Tech competition. For those of you that don't know, Startup Grind is the world's largest startup community. Our mission is to give startups everywhere the education, opportunities, and access they need to build, grow, and scale their companies. Again, thank you all so much for joining our first ever Pitch.Tech competition. Every great journey has a start line, an opening chapter, a step outside the comfort zone. Too often, we doubt the potential of an idea to create impact. This opportunity is for entrepreneurs to pitch their hearts out and be critiqued, validated, and supported. We are so thrilled to be in the final round with 6 incredible entrepreneurs that will be battling it out for some incredible prizes. The winner of today's competition will walk away with $10,000 in equity-free funding, $100,000 in startup benefits like AWS credits and other prizes from Airtable, Twilio, and Zendesk, as well as guaranteed access to our startup membership program at Startup Grind. Now, none of this would be possible today without the help of our sponsor, .Tech Domains. Thank you for hosting the Pitch.Tech Idea Stage competition in partnership with Startup Grind. Startups on .Tech Domains have raised more than $5 billion in funding and are paving the way for a new generation of technology brands. You can buy a .Tech domain for your next tech venture on any registrar such as GoDaddy, Namecheap, or Google Domains. Go ahead and check them out at get.tech. And I will go ahead and share the link in the chat for those of you that are interested. Now, if we could give a very warm welcome to our incredible judges today. First up, we've got Chicago's very own Raj Nathan, known as the heavyweight champion of story. Raj Nation Nathan is founder of Startup Hype Man, helping startups stand out to their audience and stand apart from their competitors. He was named an agent of change by Huffington Post, has given a TED Talk, and has been featured in Inc., Forbes, and more. He's also a hip hop artist, yoga instructor, and host of the popular show Startup Hype Man, the podcast. Thanks so much, Raj, for being here today.
Thanks. Oh, and the belt too. There we go. I got a little prop for all those things. Appreciate it. I'm excited to be here. Excited to be here with all these awesome other judges, and I'm excited to hear from some amazing startups. So thank you for having me.
Awesome. And next up, we've got Amy Jin. Amy is a leadership and pitch coach for founders and executives. Her clients include Google, Masterclass, Hinge, Lyft, and a selection of venture-backed female-led early-stage startups. Her approach is research-backed and heart-led. Using the latest research in mindfulness, psychology, and neuroscience, Amy helps visionaries unlock their superpowers and lead consciously. A passionate advocate for women, she is the host of Straighten Your Crown, a podcast that provides female founders the tools and resources they need to take over the world. Previously, she led business development for Google Pay in EMEA, co-founded a fashion startup, and broke sales records at OpenTable. Basically, Amy has done it all. Thank you so much for joining us.
To be here, and I can't wait to be inspired by all these pitches.
Awesome. Also joining us is Diego Arias Garcia, who is currently a ventures analyst at Plug and Play, always on the lookout for exciting innovation. Interested in health tech, smart cities, gov tech, and sustainability, he started his career in a tech startup, then joined Plug and Play in Abu Dhabi and moved to Spain, going to work with partners and startups across the United States and Europe. Thanks, Diego, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Really excited to be here today.
Last, but certainly not least, we have Athene Batra, who is the founder and general partner at 27ventures.vc, a VC firm invested in early stage ed tech and future of work startups across the world. 27V looks for entrepreneurs with an overwhelming drive to build a business that not only creates shareholder value, but also leaves a positive impact on our fragile world. The firm has invested in 8 companies alongside Steve Cohen's Point 72 Ventures, Mark Cuban's family office, Urban, us, BMW, Google, and other tier 1 investors. Welcome to the stage.
Thanks, Maddie. Great to be here. Looking forward to the pitches. And by the way, that's 18 portfolio companies, not 8.
Oh, 18. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
18. Very impressive. So judges, you'll want to go ahead and pull up your scoring cards. And without further ado, let's hear it from some incredible startups. So how this is going to work today is I'll call the startups up by name and give you presenter mode. I'll then begin my timer where you'll have exactly 2 minutes to share your pitch with the audience. And then we'll hand it over to the judges for 3 minutes of Q&A. For the audience, please share your feedback in the chat, any questions you might have and want the judges to ask. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and begin with John of Mariposa.Pitch.Tech. John, I'm bringing you up on stage right now. All right, John, you should have video and audio access. It
says Michael said he will be presenting in place of Joan.
Michael, that's right. All right, Michael, we're bringing you up on stage.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you. So when you're ready, we'll get started with your pitch and you'll see this little timer when it is time. On your marks, get set, go.
At Mariposa Technology, we are developing a revolutionary protocol for rapid in-field testing of industrial and pharmacological hemp. By utilizing a handheld Raman spectroscopy device paired with our proprietary database, we plan on providing affordable, accurate, and immediate test results. Our technology will bring the power of self-testing to farmers at a fraction of the price, while also guaranteeing their digital farming experience optimizes their profits. Moreover, our technology will drastically reduce the carbon footprint of the hemp industry at large. Today, farmers in all 50 states face one common impediment to a successful hemp harvest, which is keeping their crops below the mandated level of 0.3% THC content. Farmers have to coordinate specimen testing with a licensed handler as well as a licensed laboratory test. The timeline for testing can be anywhere from 3 to 10 days and can cost over $500 per test series per variant. For perspective, many farmers are testing dozens of variants multiple times per season. Once they get results back, the data can be over a week old, making it inaccurate and unreliable. Furthermore, different labs use different protocols and the results vary tremendously from lab to lab. What happens if a hemp farmer's crop is over the legal THC limit? The government requires the entire lot to be destroyed. This can put a farmer out of business for a season or in some cases permanently. So what is Raman spectroscopy? RS is a spectroscopic technique typically used to determine the vibrational modes of molecules, specifically in organic matter. RS is commonly used to provide a structural fingerprint by which molecules can be identified and then studied. RS spectra for analytes like THC produce multiple unique vibrational bands. The output from these bands runs through our ultra-precise algorithm, and it allows us to measure analytes with almost 100% accuracy. Through our groundbreaking technology and subscription service, we aim to replace costly and time-consuming methods of traditional laboratory testing in the hemp industry and to dramatically reduce the carbon footprint of the industry at large, while also putting power and profits back into farmers' hands.
Wow, look at that, right on the dot. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing your pitch.
Thank you.
We will go ahead and hand it over to Q&A. And why don't we go ahead and start with the team?
I'm actually just going to recuse myself. In terms of questions, this is not a space that I'm very knowledgeable about. So maybe just pass it over to one of the other judges.
Sure thing. Raj, how about you? Are you ready?
Michael, how do you get this in the hands of farmers? What's your go-to-market strategy for this?
So we're working with a device manufacturer, and we'll be taking control of multiple devices. We will basically rent these devices to farmers who want to subscribe to our service. And from there, it's an ongoing R&D development process where we continually add to our database to make more and more accuracy with every test. So the idea is we're selling a subscription model in a sense, and it's per season. So it's not per month, per year, it's per season. If you want to take a step back in one season, you're welcome to do that. So it is a seasonal subscription.
Thanks.
Amy, over to you.
Michael, I'd like to know about your traction.
So as of now, we're still obviously in very early stages. We've reached out to hundreds of hemp farmers, and all of them seem to be interested. Not all of them want to participate in a beta trial with us, but there's a ton of interest. The idea is I would say relatively, but it's really just revolutionary. Most farmers, when we describe what we'll be able to do, are kind of shocked. And so I'd say as of now, in ultra early stages, it's very good traction. We've had almost a 90% return rate on the people we've reached out to saying they want to participate in beta.
Diego, over to you.
Great, thank you. I think the other judges have touched pretty much on everything, but I would love to hear what do you think would be the best use of the price and sort of what difference would it make in your product development?
Well, so that's a great question. So the devices themselves are very expensive, but the way that we want to see this business come to be is basically charging a price per acre per season. So if a farmer is cultivating 10 acres or 1,000 acres, they're paying the same price per acre. And that price will include a device itself along with an access code to our subscription service. So this is going to be significantly cheaper than traditional laboratory testing, and it also gives them peace of mind. It's not just a way to test their crop, but it's also an insurance policy so that they know that they won't have to destroy all of their hard work and potentially go out of business.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing with us today. Any further questions from any of the judges? No? All right. Well, next up, we will be bringing on Minerva.Pitch.Tech with Kamal.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, can see you, can hear you.
How's everyone?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to go ahead and begin your pitch right now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kamal, and I'm a co-founder of Layer Slayers, where our motto is helping makers to make. Our company's first product is Minerva, an online education platform for 3D printing. Currently, companies who utilize 3D printing are struggling to hire qualified candidates. It takes months to find the right candidates, leading to large periods of production downtime. Once a candidate is hired, it can take up to a year of training and before the candidate is completely educated to be effective at their job. This is due to a lack of availability for commercial 3D printing knowledge. With no dedicated platform for additive manufacturing education, the success is scattered, making the large learning curve to 3D printing even bigger, and it takes years to become an expert in the field. So, our solution is to turn years into days by building the ultimate destination, focused on high-quality 3D printing education to reduce the trial and error time within the company's additive manufacturing. Our dedicated subscription-based product is the Minerva online education platform, which will provide companies who utilize additive manufacturing with the education they need. Minerva will be a library of coursework that includes educational videos and expert-written guides. Users can learn from hands-on projects and test their knowledge with interactive assessments. With their easily accessible platform that is always updating with unbiased, commercial-focused, gamified education, Minerva will solve the education problem for our customers. With Minerva, anyone can go from learning 3D printing in years to days. We also have a great team, including Daniel Hutchinson, who is the founder and CTO of Post-Process Technologies, which is a world leader in the additive manufacturing industry. Daniel brings a wealth of resources available to us to help us accelerate to success. Right now, we have customers ready to use Minerva. The Pitch.Tech prize will allow us to create the initial content and begin testing with these early adopters. So, in summary, we are laying the foundation to scale and implement additive manufacturing by filling a growing need in an expanding industry. This is a unique solution with a great future. Thank you so much for your time today. We would love for the opportunity to come on this journey with us. Thank you.
Terrific. Right on time as well. You guys are crushing it with the punctuality. Impressive. All right. Why don't we begin with Amy?
Oh, great. What's the market size here?
So the market size is actually quite good because it's growing constantly. We're currently focused on aerospace companies that are small to medium-sized companies. So that's looking like around, we're focused on the Midwest especially. So that's looking to be around 60,000 users in the Midwest currently today.
All right, gonna go ahead and hand over the mic to Atim.
Sure, thanks. Kamal, I've done a lot of investing in 3D printing, and one of the things that I've learned is you have to have a very tight feedback loop in terms of theoretical knowledge as well as actually seeing it applied and being able to build that that loop again, that feedback loop of just knowing what's been actually physically printed and how do you improve your print qualities going forward. So how are you planning to do that? Because that's the big disconnect between having an online education piece where physical world matters a lot.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. So we're very focused on process education because once you have the processes down, you're able to repeat them over and over again. And that iteration loop is built into the processes. So if you learn the process on how to develop a specific fixture or tool in your company, that process can be repeated over and over again. So that iteration also improves over time as well.
Sorry, can I just do a quick follow-up?
Yeah.
So does that mean that the kind of education that you're doing has to happen after the candidate is hired by the company, because only then do they get actual access to the 3D printing technology?
So it can happen in two ways. One, it could happen in the way you just described. They got hired and they weren't skilled, so that they were going to upskill the employee that they just hired, knowledgeable about the technology. The other way, and have the employee take the education first, and then the company could pay for that later, based on if they're happy with their qualifications or not.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'll hand over the mic to Raj.
Can you talk through, at least at this point, I don't know how much traction you have, but what does your sales cycle look like? What does it take to actually get a customer?
So sales cycle looks, well, we do have traction. We have letter of intents from a couple of companies, and we have about $9,500 in revenue that has been promised to us once we're able to deliver. We've also won $12,000 in business competitions like this one. So hopefully we can make a 22 today. So our sales cycle looks like we go after a person at the head of a additive manufacturing department, and they're really the people that often decide on who gets training and what training. Some companies also have HR be involved in that process, but we're seeing that a lot of additive manufacturing managers tend to oversee that process. So the sales cycle ends up being around a couple weeks, I'd imagine. Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy to answer anything else if you got anything.
You're back on mute, Madeline. Just heads up.
Thank you. I said that was time. Thank you so much for the great pitch. Appreciate you joining us today. And next up, we have gogos.pitch.tech with the founder, Winston.
All right. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Winston, we can hear you and see you loud and clear.
I'm in a little different setup today, so I'm trying to adjust, but I'm good.
You're good. So when you're ready to pitch, the timer starts now.
All right. In 2020, the U.S. engaged in a national discussion about racial equity and representation. The idea that in this country, people of all races should see themselves in positions of power and leadership. One of the first places we all encounter leaders is in our schools as children. But our schools currently lack the representation needed for all of our students. As the demographics of our country have shifted, our schools have struggled to diversify their teaching staffs. Currently, 50% of all of our K-12 students identify as Black, Latinx, or Asian, but only 20% of our teaching staff does. 40% of our public schools do not even have an educator of color on the staff. That means for students like my daughter, they have very few opportunities to see themselves as leaders. Schools historically have been unable to connect with educators of color and those outside of their networks. My solution to this problem is Agogos. Agogos is a digital hiring platform and community of practice for educators of color. Our goals are to help in 3 areas. 1, hiring. Via Agogos, educators get to create dynamic digital portfolios that truly showcase what they bring to the classroom, and schools get an immediate searchable database of these educators that they can contact for any open position, removing the limited and sometimes passive nature of K-12 hiring. Number 2, retention. Agogos is a community of practice where educators now have the ability to connect with our network of nonprofits and each other to share curriculum, professional development tools, and the emotional supports needed to thrive and continue in the profession. Number 3, growth. Agogo seeks to help in increasing the teacher pipeline by being a digital one-stop shop for all things for educators of color, creating spaces for paraprofessionals, substitute teachers, career changers, anyone looking to enter the profession or to learn more. It removes the barriers of lacking a network and the resources to enter the field. I've spoken with hundreds of educators, and a constant is how much their network and support system helped them enter the profession and stay and thrive. And as one school leader told me, if you had a place where I could find all the educators of color, I'd pay you for that right now. So Agogos is career and community. I'm sorry for going over.
No worries. Thank you so much, Winston. Really appreciate the passion in your pitch. Diego, why don't we start with you?
So obviously, marketplace, the whole thing hinges on having a network effect, right? Where you attract a lot of people and then it's attracted to schools. See that go to market getting qualified educators on the platform.
Well, the great thing about it is there are so many. The issue, what Agogos is going to do is bring them all together. There are a lot of great nonprofits across the country that are doing this work and have connections to educators, but they're very local. So they're just in pockets across the country. My goal is to connect with a lot of these nonprofits and bring their cohorts onto Agogos as a platform where they can share and expand their own networks. Also, connecting with the alternative teacher certification programs that are huge and are building more teachers in some of our education universities, and as well connecting with our universities and our historically Black colleges and universities, as well as finding pockets of other educators that are sometimes forgotten, such as our Native educators and our Asian educators as well. So I'm really going for those affinity groups and pockets that have been created.
Awesome. Atin, over to you.
Thanks, Maddie. Vincent, that was a great pitch. Thank you. Quick question. What's the business model here? Who are you charging and how are you planning to make money?
The business model is to charge schools as a recruiting service with a couple different tiers for them. So one, you can start with just posting your job similar to a School Spring or some of the other job posting sites, but a little lower price because it will be post. Then you can have an annual subscription, which will average around $2,000 depending on the size of your school district. If you're a large school district, like I'm outside of Boston, at Boston Public Schools, it'll be a larger price for, because you're going to need 100, 150 schools for your licensing. And then schools can also have a view-only model where maybe you don't want to post jobs, you have your own internal site and you want the ability to search and find educators. And then lastly, to partner with ed tech companies such as Khan Academy or Google or Apple, who are rolling out a lot of new ed tech technology, particularly because of the pandemic, for them to be able to talk to a pocket of educators that have historically been left out of some of these ideas and testing.
Thank you. Raj, we'll end with you.
Thank you. Thanks, Winston. Good pitch. And it's a topic that I'm interested in because I do a decent amount of DEI work. I'm curious with selling into schools in particular, which are historically will cry broke and say they don't have any money. One, what's your plan to get them to make budget for this?
Yeah.
And two, kind of dovetails off of that, is this a problem schools already recognize, or do you have to educate them on the problem?
I will say for the most part, schools do recognize it. Yeah. There are some that are more proactive about changing it and sort of have plans in place. And those are the schools that I would go to first for adoption. That's your magnet schools and your charter schools. They're very focused on, because many of them are in pockets of, more diverse populations.
Hi. Sorry.
I can message you.
I'm sorry, Winston. So much good info to squeeze in that 3 minutes. Thank you so much for your pitch. Next up, we're going to be bringing the blue box.pitch.tech, up on stage. Judges, if you want to go ahead and insert your scores for Winston. We have Judith Giro Benet, who is the founder at Blue Box. Let's see, can we hear you, Judith? Is your audio working?
Yes, I think I turned on my mic.
Perfect. All right, well, when you are ready to go, the timer begins now.
Have you ever heard of dogs being able to smell cancer? Well, I have. And in fact, this is what inspired me to build what is now called the Blue Box. Good morning, everyone. My name is Judy Giro. I'm delighted to be here today to present you with the Blue Box. Now, in this world, 1 every 8 women will have breast cancer at least once. But we, as a society, are not doing enough to stop this trend. In fact, most healthcare systems in the world still use the mammogram as the gold standard for breast cancer prevention. But has anyone here ever gotten a mammogram? Was that nice? I'm guessing not. Actually, absenteeism rates of mammograms are huge. If you ask women, mammograms are painful. So we need to do better. We need a solution that is pain-free, can be done at home, is low cost, is non-irradiating, and it's anxiety-free. And this is why I'm presenting to you the Blue Box. But what is the Blue Box? The Blue Box is actually a box that has 8 sensors inside that are specific to breast cancer biomarkers. When you introduce a urine sample inside the box, these sensors will behave differently because of these chemical compounds. The Blue Box is to be used with the Blue application, which guides the user throughout the whole process. So how does it work? Well, actually, as early as in Roman times, doctors have been using body fluids to diagnose a number of diseases. Some years ago, doctors used to taste urine to diagnose diabetes. So it comes as no surprise that we are able to spot breast cancer in urine, right? Well, but we're only able to do that because we use artificial intelligence. We know the chemicals are there, but it is only with implementing AI that we can see their very, very small and different composition or variability among composition among samples. So in other words, artificial intelligence lets us see what the human eye cannot see. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you so much, Judith. Really great, Judith, really great pitch. Let's hand the mic over to Amy.
This sounds so important, and I love your excitement about this. I'd love to know about a little bit more about how it works, the accuracy of the box, and what you've seen with early. If anyone have tried it so far?
Yeah, thanks. I love that question. Actually, the first Blue Box was my bachelor thesis. I studied biomedical engineering in Barcelona. I eventually convinced a doctor. I went to a hospital and I managed to get urine samples from 90 patients. The prototype that we have now with AI classifies properly 95% of the samples, but I must say those women had metastatic breast cancer, so big tumors. But now, next week, actually, we will start another study at 2 hospitals, and we will be training the device, training the algorithm with early stage breast cancer, because this is how you change things.
Love it. Handing the mic over to you, Diego.
I think it's a great innovation, and I would love to hear about how you see it integrating with clinical trials and sort of hospital workflow, because getting FDA clearance is kind of like a long road. So
Yes.
happy to hear about your plans.
Yes, our plans is that in 1 year from now, we need to have raised 500K. This will enable us to bring a new team member who is an expert with ADA clearance, and then we will have to conduct 1 year-long study again in US hospitals.
Awesome. Etienne, over to you.
Thanks, Mandy. Thank you for the pitch. I've done a lot of investing in hardware companies, and this the big problem with most of these companies is just getting to a recurring use, because a business like this, what you want is to be able to sell that sampling stick over and over again. So I wonder if you've thought through the unit economics of that, or is there a different business model that you're thinking of?
Well, we have kind of a disruptive business model, one for the US, one for Europe, because healthcare systems are obviously very different. But our main business model is a subscription mode. We want to have the blue boxes in the home of patients to empower women to own their own health, to be the new pregnancy test. So what we're gonna do is a subscription mode. You will buy the blue box for an initial affordable cost, and then our main revenue will be generated through quarterly subscriptions.
Awesome, great. We've got about 20 seconds left. Rob, do you want to sneak in a quick question or just say
Yeah,
something?
sure. I mean, quick question. How did you come up with the name Blue Box?
Do you see this wall here? That's
I was going to
my home.
ask, is it intentional because there's a blue box behind you?
No, my home has this patio with where I talk to my family always, and great ideas happen here. So it makes
Great,
sense.
awesome.
Love that. Well, thank you so much, Judith. Really great pitch. Really an important topic that you're tackling. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
I'm going to be bringing up Samantha next of wxh.pitch.tech. Judges, you can go ahead and put your scores in. Oh, we've got 2 people up on stage. All right. Well, Samantha with WXH, go ahead. Your pitch begins now.
Hi, I'm Austin.
And I'm Samantha.
Every month, there are 12 million Google searches for topics related to decorating walls.
It makes sense. We all want our homes to be the best reflection of us. A wall of art can define a space, express who we are, and make a house a home.
Based on our interviews, it's a challenging task. Finding artwork we love can be time-consuming, and arranging and hanging it can be daunting.
We are WXH, and we're here to help. Our mobile app lets you design magazine-worthy wall arrangements, discover artwork and decor you love, and hang your art exactly where you want it.
Using computer vision, machine learning, and augmented reality, we automatically determine the dimensions of your space and your artwork, and provide you with personalized layouts and exact placements.
So with our technology, you can do it by yourself, for yourself, no expertise needed, which is key because current solutions aren't sufficient. Can you name the market leader who helps users decorate their walls?
Neither could we, which means there's an opportunity to create something better. And now is the perfect moment thanks to cutting-edge technology on mobile devices and increasing consumer interest in Instagrammable spaces.
We'll help users easily create tailor-made spaces that they love and help businesses sell their artwork worldwide by giving their customers confidence in their purchase decisions.
With our free service, users will find new artwork from our retail partners. When they find something they love, they'll buy it directly from that retailer.
We'll receive a 10% commission on each sale. Bringing these 2 groups together presents a $370 million market.
We each bring over 10 years of software experience, and we know how to go from concept to launch. Right now, we're finalizing our prototype for our beta test this fall. We're currently seeking funding to help us invest in the software and equipment we need to build our app and get it to market.
We're WXH. We love art, no software. We're dedicated to helping you our ideal space.
If you need help decorating your wall, visit us at wxh.io.
And that is time. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Austin, Samantha, for your pitch. Really well rehearsed. I'm going to go ahead and hand over the mic to Raj for Q&A beginning now.
Thank you both for your pitch. That was funny. You asked the question around, like, can you name a market leader? I ultimately could, but I had to think about it for 5 seconds. And the answer that came to mind was mixed tiles. But it wasn't as obvious as like Nike would be for, athletic stuff. My question ultimately then is the user experience similar to like what that would be, where like I have a mobile app and then I place an order and basically the whole thing is just done through my phone, or is there like measurements that have to be taken? Can you talk through that?
Yeah, so the way it works is, and our distinction maybe from that service is that you can combine artwork you currently own with artwork you want to buy. And that's the distinction, even something like an IKEA or a Wayfair, where they're only selling their artwork. But to answer your question, what you would do is you'd scan your wall. We would be able to automatically detect the dimensions of your space. And if you had an existing art, you would scan that as well. And so then we can take those measurements, create a layout presentation for you. If you want to add new artwork, we could recommend pieces that match your space and your taste. And then we can give the exact placement measurement, even to the point where you wouldn't need a measuring tape. We can literally just say, like, here's the dot, put the nail there, and you're done.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll go ahead and hand it over to Atin.
Thanks, Maddie. Thanks, folks, for the pitch. Sort of like a follow-up question on what Rajiv just asked. The way that you express it is that you're scanning a blank wall. But I'm assuming that you're also hoping to bring other elements of the room into the variables that you're looking at when you're presenting some of these ideas. So maybe you can talk a little bit about just what are all of the various things that you're trying to account for when you're giving some of these suggestions for art.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, you're right. Something like a couch or a buffet or any type of furniture would affect it. And so you're right. It would be a scan of any wall, including walls that currently have artwork and you want to expand on it. Maybe you want to create a gallery wall. Do you want to add anything to it as the...
Well, yeah, we're also looking at your entire space holistically, right? And so like if we've seen other walls in your space, we sort of start to understand what you have and what you like. We're going to understand what type of room we're looking at. So we're going to ask you, is this a bedroom or a kitchen, and do content recommendations based on that. And the hope is that as we develop a relationship with the customer over time, we're going to learn more about their interests.
All right, we've got about 30 seconds left. If Amy, you want to ask a quick question or comment.
As you can see, I need this very badly, so I'm very excited you're building it. I'm really curious how you do the matching the taste piece, how you do the design, and how do you actually help people decorate and make choices?
Yeah. Okay, 30 seconds. So there's a couple, at least layout best practices that museums use called gallery height. So we can do that kind of placement. As far as the colors in your space, we can use that as a
We're at time. I'm sorry we didn't get to get Amy's answer there. But thank you so much, Samantha and Austin. Really great pitch and appreciate you both being here. Judges, go ahead and put in your scores. And next up, we are bringing planeahead.pitch.tech with Alex as our founder.
Oh, there you are.
There we go. We can hear you. We can see you. How's it going, Alex?
It's going good. Hey, before you start time, I just want to shout out to Winston. I appreciate what you're doing, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, the timer begins now.
Sounds good. Hi, I'm Alex Mailbranch, founder of Plane Ahead. So Plane Ahead is the first company of its kind that actually monitors the tickets after they've been purchased, and they actually automatically change as your price decreases through your flight. So unlike other customers, or other companies like Expedia, Travelocity, Kayak, those things help you make decisions before you make your purchase. Since the change of last year, of 2020, COVID has eliminated change fees permanently through most of the major airline carriers. So now the value proposition goes past the buying decision. So Plane Ahead, using our AI technology, actually takes in your purchased itinerary, tracks it every single day, and makes an automatic change once it goes down in price. So we've got customers that have saved over $700 in one change. So not many people notice or realize that flights actually change multiple times throughout a week. In fact, it was once calculated that for 365 days, one plane ticket changed price over 2.5 times, or once every 2.5 days. So now this is an opportunity. Plane Ahead is taking advantage by giving the best customer service and increasing flexibility while also maintaining a low cost and good customer experience. So we're excited to be a part of the next wave and future of travel.
Awesome. Way ahead of time. So thank you so much for your pitch, Alex. Why don't we begin with Diego?
So could you explain a little bit exactly how does that reimbursement of credits work with the airlines to make sure that this happens?
Absolutely. So if you were to buy a ticket right now on American Airlines, they would give you a confirmation number. If you want to manage your trip, so if we want to make a change or anything like that, the only thing that you would need as Diego is your confirmation number, your first and last name. So our members that sign up with us, we have their first, last name, and other information. Once they get their itinerary, they actually send it to us, and it intakes that into our system, taking confirmation number, departure, airport, and some other details. When that change is made, so our AI looks it up every single day based on all of those attributes. So it's an American flight, American 36, this confirmation number for Diego Arias. If it notices that the price has gone down, it automatically makes the change for you. So what happens is that same ticket, whether it's the departure or arrival, if you went, and you can do this yourself actually, if you went on, saw the same ticket, it was $80 cheaper, you could click the same ticket, and then they would actually automatically send you the credit to the email that you used to sign up. So our system doesn't need any intervention from the airline. Once you sign up with our membership, it'll automatically make that change, and it goes directly from the airline to you. It doesn't pass through Plane Ahead at all.
Thank you. Tin, over to you.
Yeah, no, thanks. Thanks, Alex, for the pitch. Real quick question. I guess how do you see this surviving beyond just the pandemic? Because things will change with boat travel, whether the ease of travel or not the ease of travel, or whichever way you look at it. So how do you actually think of the sustainability of the business that you've built going forward?
Great question. So 2 parts to it. The first question that I always get all the time, what happens if change fees come back? Technically, airlines, they could go back to that, but if you actually follow some of the press around it, and actually on the websites themselves, I'll use United as an example. They actually put in there that they're permanently gone. Scott Kirby, the CEO, has also made multiple videos about explaining why it's going to be permanently gone. So of course they could always change course, and we have an answer to that, but it's probably unlikely from a change fee perspective. Now, all of us have traveled a lot, and we know the airlines enough to know that they're going to create a new fee. That's how they're going to get their revenue back, but it's not going to be a change fee, which is good for us. As far as past the pandemic, right, how do we grow? We see it through a lot of things. I used to work at Amazon, so maybe this is like pounded into my head, right? But the customer obsession piece. When Amazon started, it was about buying and selling books. Ultimately, though, from internal, right, it was never really about book selling. It was always about understanding the customers, creating value in different ways. So as the customer evolved and gives feedback, as a company, Amazon grew to evolve and take that feedback to be a more customer-centric company. So that's what we anticipate on doing with Plane Ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. No, thank you so much, Alex. Really great pitch. Really appreciate it. And that's it on pitches. So incredible job, everyone. Really great pitches. Great job answering the Q&A and being on the spot. And so thrilled to see where everyone's entrepreneurial journey takes you. But only one very lucky founder is going to walk away with $10,000 in equity-free funding, as well as $100,000 in benefits, including AWS credits, Airtable, Twilio, Zendesk credits, among many others. So judges, if you want to go ahead and finish your tallies, and everyone in the audience, I would love to hear from you in the chat who you're voting for, who you want to win, who you're rooting for. Gonna turn on a little suspension music if the drum roll wants to load. And the winner of the Pitch.Tech competition is the Blue Box .Pitch.Tech with Judith. Congratulations, Judith. We're going to bring you up on stage for just a few words. Congratulations. Takes a second to approve.
Well, thank you so much. I'm super excited. And I have to say, it was an honor to compete with such high-level startups. So thank you so much. It was an amazing competition. And yeah, let's keep connected. Yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch with your prizes. Really great job. And shout out to all of our judges. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here and provide some incredible feedback and questions to our startups. Also, thank you so much. .tech domains, you have been incredible to work with. Please check out their website. And also you can check out all of the other pitches. Manny's going to go ahead and drop the link in the chat. And thank you all so much for being here today. Have an incredible rest of your day.